You ready? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is 6:04 p.m. This is a meeting of the El Centro City Council for Tuesday, April the 2nd, 2024. Madam City Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Cardenas Singh,
Present.
Councilmember Carter,
Present.
Councilmember Oliva,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Garcia,
Present.
Mayor Marroquin.
Present. Mayor Pro Tem Garcia, will you please lead us in the flag salute? Please stand.
Please face the flag, hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilmember Carter, please remain standing. Councilmember Carter, please lead us in the invocation.
Bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you just simply saying thank you. We ask you to bless the month of April. Give everybody the desires of their heart, Lord. Go out into the streets, go to the north, the south, the east, and the west, and bless the people of El Centro and bless the other people in the Imperial Valley. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. Madam City Attorney, please report out on closed session.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There's no reportable action at this time from closed session.
Okay, so now we will take public comments, but before we do that, allow me to read this notice to the public. This is a public meeting. If there is an item on the agenda on which you wish to be heard, you are asked to complete a blue speaker slip and submit it to the city clerk prior to the start of the meeting. Persons wishing to address the council are not required to identify themselves. However, this information assists the mayor by ensuring that all persons wishing to address the council are recognized and also assists the city clerk in preparing the city council meeting minutes. When the item is announced and your name is called by the mayor, please step to the podium and state your name for the record. Unless the mayor extends the time, there is a 3-minute time limit for each public presentation. If you wish to address the council concerning any other matter not appearing on the agenda, you may do so during the public comment portion of the agenda. However, you may not show a visual presentation without review of that material. If you do so, you will be considered out of order. Madam City Clerk, do we have any blue speaker slips?
We have none, Mayor.
Okay, alrighty. So now we will move on to, pardon?
Say again. Oh, got it. Okay.
So will we wait until
No, it's
item
fine.
8?
Go ahead.
Will we wait until item 8 for the speaker?
Yeah.
Okey doke. And now we go into presentations and announcements by the mayor. First, I would like to recognize Sun Community Federal Credit Union for celebrating their 70th anniversary. And I would like to present them with the proclamation, but before I do that, let me read it to you. Sun Community Federal Credit Union 70th anniversary, which you celebrated on March the 16th, 2024. Whereas founded in 1954 in El Centro for over 70 years, Sun Community has served those who live, work, or volunteer. With 8 branches throughout the region and a dedicated local call center, they are always there to help. And whereas through affordable housing and consumer loans, financial education, and charitable donations, their dedication is making a lasting impact in the places they call home. And whereas Sun Community has donated over $500,000 to more than 50 nonprofit organizations. They award college scholarships yearly for high school graduates who have made a difference in their community. And whereas they are changing lives through friendly, easy, and extraordinary experiences, options, and solutions. Not only do they provide financial solutions, they create a stronger community for its members. And whereas the City of El Centro Council congratulates Sun Community Federal Credit Union in celebrating 70 years of service. Thank you for providing exceptional service and for keeping member satisfaction as your priority. Now, therefore, I, Sylvia Marroquin, Mayor of the City of El Centro, State of California, do hereby proclaim March the 16th, 2024 as Sun Community Federal Credit Union 70th anniversary in the City of El Centro. And Mr. Carey, I believe you're here. Would you like to come up and say a few words?
Well, thank you, Mayor. We're very, very honored to have this award. We're very proud to serve the city of El Centro and the surrounding communities going all the way up into Coachella Valley for 70 years. We couldn't do it without your support, and so we're so grateful to serve. I'd like to introduce also our chair, Juan Cruz, and our longest serving volunteer, Esther Gomez. So on behalf of Sun Community Credit Union, we say thank you very much.
Well, we appreciate your service to the community. And so at this time, I'd like to invite my colleagues, to make a few comments.
Thank you. I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate you on 70 years of dedication in providing banking and financing in our community. I know for many of us, we started our first bank account with Sun Community. I speak for myself and for my children as well. It's been a great service, and I thank you for the great work that happens at Sun Community. There's something about Sun Community. When you come in and you meet and work with staff, you walk out feeling like you have a friend. So thank you. Congratulations for the great work.
Thank you very much.
I just want to say that we certainly appreciate your presence here in El Centro and Imperial County. Financial institutions can come in different flavors, and you can certainly have some that are very vast, and so customer service can get a little washed out. But the ones that are very present in El Centro and are very present in Imperial County, you just get that sense of neighborly customer service. And I certainly am one that received excellent customer service from your branch manager once upon a time. And so I certainly know that if that was afforded to me, then I know that it was afforded to many other folks in El Centro. And so whether it's teaching a young student, to have a bank account and to balance their budgets, whether it's an older couple, family to pay their bills, or a business owner that's looking to start a business and have an account with someone, certainly you are very appreciated. And so that's the spirit behind this. So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Councilmember Carter?
Congratulations on your 70-year milestone. Wow, that's awesome. You do so much for the community, and Sun Community, you hear that out there a lot. You just keep doing what you're doing. You are appreciated. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Garcia?
So I had the pleasure and the honor to be there for your 70th event. It was a wonderful community event, and I will echo what I was allowed to say then, that the epitome of what you stand for is community. It's right there in your name. And you guys have ingrained yourselves in the community for 70 years, whether it comes to helping kids with FFA projects, whether it comes to sponsorships for all of the community events that we do. You guys have truly epitomized the word community. And that is one thing that nobody can take from you. So you guys have been here for 70 years and have really put your foot forward on how to put your name on the community, and you have. And we all thank you for it. So thank you very much, and I look forward to another 70 years.
Thank you. We're so honored to serve, and we appreciate this award very much. So thank you very much.
Can I say a few words? Sun Community holds a special place in my heart. For those of you that don't know, I worked in the banking industry for more than 25 years. 15 of those years were spent at Sun Community. I reached the branch manager level, and so I know what the philosophy is behind credit unions and how they're there for the people of the community, and how you all are there to help each other. And so that's why it's so important to also recognize, the value that you offer your members. And so, I spent quite a few years also training the staff, to provide that exceptional member service. And so I understand, everything that, because I've lived it. And so, I'm really, I was very proud to have worked there for that length of time. And, we were, even back then, we were so involved in the community and we're always giving back to the community. And so, that was something that, that was instilled in me even back then. So now I'm giving it back in a different way, but it's still quite an honor for me to be able to present this proclamation to you. And if you'd like to bring your staff up, here to the dais, we'd like to take a picture with you, Mr. Carey. Thank you, Mr. Carey. Pleasure to see you. So let's yesterday, but oh my gosh, Joselito.
Be nice, Joselito.
Oh my God.
The one with the most clicks wins.
You're welcome, Mr. Carey. It's nice to see you again. Yes.
Bruce, thank you. Esther, congratulations. Thank you.
The one with the most clicks wins.
Taking a movie.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and we will proceed because now we would like to honor one of our own City of El Centro teams, the team that works at the El Centro Library. And so we are soon going to be celebrating National Library Workers Day, which is April the 9th. And so I would also like to present a City of El Centro proclamation to all of our library workers. So whereas National Library Workers Day recognizes the valuable contributions library staff make every day to their communities through hard work and dedication, and whereas founded by American Library Association, National Library Workers Day aims to recognize the hard work of library support staff and librarians. This allows people to show their appreciation to library workers, and whereas librarians and library support staff bring the nation a world of knowledge in person and online, as well as personal service and expert assistance in finding what is needed when it's needed. And whereas library support staff tirelessly serve our community, enriching lives and fostering literacy and lifelong learning through their expertise and commitment. And whereas the City of El Centro Council recognizes and thanks this El Centro Library staff for the exceptional service they provide to El Centro and Imperial Valley residents. They also encourage the community to take advantage of the variety of library resources available. Now, therefore, I, Sylvia Marroquin, Mayor of the City of El Centro, State of California, do hereby proclaim April the 9th, 2024 as National Library Workers Day in the City of El Centro. And Ms. Carla Mason, would you like to come up and say a few words and bring your team with you?
They can see you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, for this. I really appreciate it. I'm the one as library director that everybody sees all the time at all of these meetings and, on the Christmas float or those kinds of things. But these are the people that are actually there greeting everybody when you come in and helping you find all of the information that you need, making the crafts for all the programs that you see. And I think the greatest asset for the library is its staff. And I'm so glad to be able to show you all the staff that you see when you come in every day. We have Pedro,
Pedro.
Maida,
Hi.
Ruby. Everybody knows Melissa. Norma. Wow, I'm excited here. Norma, sorry. Enriqueta. Okay, Sandra.
Sandy.
And everybody knows Michelle.
Wow.
Sorry.
Well, we certainly appreciate you being here this evening. And, as a second, this was worth closing the library for maybe an hour ahead of time, for this proclamation to honor all of you. And I'd like to start with my colleague,
Yes.
Councilmember Cardenas Singh, and say a few words.
Absolutely. Thank you for the great work that takes place at our El Centro Library. From all the events and the activities that we've had to participate, the smiles on families' faces when we participate, I know it truly is a labor of love, and I really appreciate just all the great creativity, my goodness, that takes place at the library. Thank you for making reading fun. Thank you for allowing computers to be accessible to all individuals that might not have a computer at home or internet. All those wonderful things that you provide are just excellent, life-changing, and truly make a difference in individuals' life. Thank you for always making us feel so welcome, and congratulations on the great work that you do 365 days a year.
Yes, thank you for everything that you do. I know that that's easy to say, and so I just want to back that up and allowing you to know just the feedback that I've gotten from residents, and that is to say that in the last recent years, we have had more events at the library for families to come together and to be there than we have had in, several other years. And that was noticed by a lot of families. And so I gave parents an opportunity to bring their kids to have arts and crafts, to have themed events, to have Dr. Seuss book readings. I know that in the summer, you all operate out of the USDA with a lunch program, right, for a lot of families. And so you are that safety net for a lot of families that depend on the breakfast and lunch in schools. And so when school's out, they're able to get a lunch at the library. It's a beautiful space, and you allow for children to imagine, to be themselves, and to be children, right? And aside from that, it's just half of the library. The other half, you have created a space where, we've had arts and crafts. Santa showed up just a few months ago, right? You have hosted constitutional officers, the Attorney General. You've hosted so many folks and spaces, congressmen for us. And so that space is amazing. And it's amazing because you work there. And we just want to say thank you for everything that you do.
Councilmember Carter.
Just want to say thank you and congratulations. I have the honor of hearing that after everything you do. And, I work at a school, so you hear from the kids all the time. Well, when I was at the library and Dr. Seuss this and Santa this, or we did this with arts and crafts, or even with the reading, just keeping reading alive. Now that technology is the in thing, you still have books and you still enforce the reading. And that, my hat goes off to you. I appreciate everything that you do for our whole entire community. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Garcia.
So I have to get a little personal here. You guys are my heroes. I grew up in a very impoverished neighborhood in Los Angeles, and my only outlet was the library. And it was people like you that were there with me every day as a child, giving me encouragement and giving me books and essentially watching me throughout the day. And I don't know where I'd be if I didn't have the library system. Eventually, I went into higher education. I went to law school, and here I am today. None of that would have been possible without people like you. So when next time you have a child that doesn't have anywhere to go, encourage them, nurture them, do what you do best, because you guys are the heroes.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for always welcoming us, the council and the community, into your home, because that's what I see the library as your second home. Okay, and so I know that you love what you do. You're dedicated to what you do. It shows with all of the events that you have held at the library. I'm constantly impressed with all of the work and all of the detail that you put into every event that you have there, and how much the community and the children and the parents, how much they enjoy those events. And it's just like, I cannot thank you enough for all of the work that you put into it. But I think, like Councilmember Cardenas thinks that it's more of a labor of love for you, isn't it? So that's how I see and I perceive, all of you as you work and for the city and for the library, and as you serve the community, because one way or another we all touch the hearts and the hands of every person that lives in our community. So again, thank you for all that you do. And so now I'd like to present this proclamation to you. And if you'd like to step out here in front of the dais with us, we'd like to take a picture with you. All right, who's going to be in the middle? Miss Carla? Here you go. And here. Oh, did he leave?
He's interviewing.
Oh, he's outside. Uh-oh.
Run, Joselito, run.
He took it a little bit. It's got a little bit of a glare.
It has a glare.
Right there.
There you go.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank you so
again.
much. Thank you.
No, I pulled it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Please. I wasn't on the way.
And moving right along to our presentations. First, we have a presentation by the Imperial County Film Commission to present their annual report. And hello, how are you doing, Charlotte?
Hello, I'm doing well. Let me switch glasses so I can actually see. You feel my pain, right? Ladies and gentlemen of the council, esteemed guests and residents of El Centro, thanks for having me here tonight. It's really nice to see you all. I want to express my gratitude for allowing me just to be here and to talk to you all and let you know what's going on. Again, my name is Charlotte Teeters, for those who don't know, and I've been the film commissioner for the past 16 years. And I've had the privilege of serving as film commissioner. Sorry about that, no problem. And it's a role I've cherished, and it's allowed me to witness firsthand the magic of filmmaking and the impact that it has on our communities. So the past few years have been tumultuous, to say the least. I won't go into all of that again about COVID and what we've been doing and all that stuff. But we did weather the storm of COVID, and we've been grappling with those profound effects ever since in the film industry. But beyond that, we've also recently faced the challenges of the various strikes, from the Screen Actors Guild to the Directors Guild, and a potential looming threat of the IATSE strike. These disruptions have undoubtedly taken their toll and caused significant slowdown in production activities. There's no other way to put that, and I can't even sugarcoat it. But Despite these setbacks, we have remained resilient. We are moving forward. We do still have production that comes down, and we'll talk a little bit about that. And I am pleased to share with you some promising developments. But before we delve into all of that, I'd like to just take a moment and update you on some personal changes in my life. Sonia already knows all this, but I'll tell you guys anyway. In response to the unpredictable nature of the industry's downturn, I've taken on a full-time position at NAFL Centro. I am their marketing and sponsorship coordinator, and this decision was driven by the need to have steady and reliable income, a necessity that the film industry, unfortunately, at this moment could not provide. Additionally, and this is no secret, I've continued to fight my my battle with cancer. After I saw you all here in April of last year, I was re-diagnosed for the third time, and I continue to go through treatment. But as you can see, I'm strong. I'm doing well. Amen. And I remain steadfast in my commitment to both of my roles as film commissioner and also as an NAF employee. I'm grateful for the outpouring of kindness and support that I have received. And again, I just want to reassure you all that I'm doing well. So on to brighter news. March has brought a glimmer of hope, and I say glimmer. I wish it was blinding, but it's not, but it's a glimmer. And we've witnessed a little bit of a resurgence in productivity in the Valley. We had 3 productions during the month of March, which is the most productions in one month that we've had this fiscal year. And 3 productions that graced our landscapes, and we have 2 more slated for April. So this is a good trend. I'm also currently working with Warner Brothers and Amazon on 2 very large projects. No, I can't tell you about. Sonia, or you'll hear this month when we have a meeting.
Yes.
These developments, they signal to me some resurgence and vibrancy to the production schedules. And we've also had increased inquiries regarding potential projects and filming locations. So these are all good things. Since the start of the fiscal year, we've tracked 19 productions. Last year at this time, we were at 24. This year, we're at 19. Still have some months to go. We'll see how it goes. These are all of varying size and scope, and the estimated economic impact of those 19 productions is $820,300. The impact always reverberates throughout our local economy. It benefits our businesses throughout the Valley, and especially in El Centro when it comes to hotels and restaurants and food purchases and those kind of things. So I really appreciate all that El Centro has to offer our film crews. The Film Commission remains steadfast in its mission to promote Imperial County as a premier filming destination. And while it's taken some time for me personally to adjust to the changes in my life, I'm excited to focus my efforts on activities and community engagement for the Film Commission, along with the guidance of our Film Commission board. And I'm immensely grateful to Councilwoman Carter for her unwavering support during this challenging period. And I hope that she'll continue to represent El Centro on the Film Commission board. And in closing, I just want to extend my heartfelt thanks again to the council for your support. And while the road ahead may still have its challenges, and I know it will, I'm confident that the bright lights of Hollywood will once again be shining on Imperial County, and we will be reclaiming our status as a desirable location for filming. So thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Colleagues, any questions for Ms. Teeters? No. Thank you.
All
Thank you,
right.
Ms. Teeters. Thank you.
Thanks.
It's nice to see you.
Nice to see you all
Thank you.
too.
And And our next presentation is by the Small Business Development Center. And I'd like to invite Ms. Viridiana Rosales to come up and present.
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor and Honorable City Council. My name is Viridiana Rosales Trujillo, and I currently serve as the Imperial Valley SBDC Manager. I am honored and privileged to be here before you today to give you a recap of 2023 and give you a little bit of what we're up to for 2024, as well as giving you the opportunity to witness organically the success of our small business community here in the city of El Centro. So as you know, I can do it through remote.
There you go.
Well, there you go. Now I have the power. Thank you. As you know, the Imperial Valley is focused on providing all the resources needed to our small business community. We do this to empower our business owners and our entrepreneurs and help them through education and any other type of tools and resources that they need in order to, again, propel the sustainability of our local economy. We are very happy to be supported by a bigger network than just our SBDC alone. Our SBDC of Imperial Valley is also part of the SBDC San Diego and Imperial Network. And what this does is gives us the tools to provide additional services that perhaps our business owners can't get, that our business owners can't get with our limited staff here. So as I mentioned, because we're part of a network, we have an additional 9 sister SBDCs around San Diego area. So when we start working with the small business owner and they need additional services that we can provide, we have that ability to transfer them to one of our other SBDC centers where they can get those additional resources. Some of these can include patent and copyright assistance, human resource assistance, government contract assistance, and so on. Aside from the support that we receive from our SBDC network, we also receive the tremendous support of our current host, which is the Imperial County's Workforce and Economic Development Office. And I am pleased to announce that since the summer of 2023, we were able to open the doors to the current Imperial County Business Development Center. We're neighbors, by the way. We're just across the street. So our business center is located at 1250 West Main Street, right next to Wells Fargo. And what this center has allowed us to do is to expand our services and open the doors and welcome our business owners, provide them a space that they need in order for them to flourish, or something that they need in order for them to be able to conduct business themselves. We have 2 training rooms. One of them is smaller than the other one. Our small training room holds about 12 people. And then our larger training room holds about 35, 40 people. These training rooms can be used even for onboarding for some of our local businesses. We also have a couple of business incubators, and we welcome our businesses that are home-based to take advantage of this space. These spaces are completely free for them to use, so they can always just come in, make themselves at home, and be able to use the computers, Wi-Fi, and the working space that we have available. And then lastly, we do have a private conference room, as well as interview rooms. Again, if they're home-based businesses, this is a great asset for them to have. So what we do as SBDC is we continue to provide our assistance in the form of individualized business mentorship, workshops and trainings, certificate programs, networking opportunities, and informational presentation. So the difference between our workshops and trainings and our certificate programs, our workshops and training are standalone trainings. These are usually about 2 hours long, and they're provided to our business owners on a plethora of different topics. I'll mention a few that we had just the beginning of this year alone. And then our certificate programs are longer. These are our cohorts. They usually run about 8 weeks long. We're currently talking in talks with San Diego State University to be able to develop a program for young entrepreneurs that will also have the backup certification by our local San Diego State University. This year, in February, started our Women in Business Networking event, which gives women the opportunity to collaborate. We foster partnerships and collaboration among them. And then again, informational presentations. These are just a list of some of the presentations that we were able to do, as well as outreach events in 2023. My favorite is going to high schools, by the way. So in 2023, as a county, we were able to assist 35 new businesses start. We served over 800 clients. We helped create 85 jobs, helped retain over 1,400 jobs. We provided 296 training event sessions and had over 6,000 people in attendance between all those sessions, with a capital infusion of 699 and an overall economic impact of 8 million. What does that mean for you, the city of El Centro? Well, for the city of El Centro alone, we were able to assist 18 new businesses start. We counseled 288 clients. We helped create 39 jobs, supported the retention of 703 of them. We had 4,299 of our attendees say that they identify as residents of the city of El Centro, and we provided over 300 hours of counseling time. As I mentioned before, we kicked off 2024 as strong as we could. This actually cuts off our beginning sessions. We started by collaborating with the Imperial Regional Chamber of Commerce and the IRS, and we launched our IRS and compliance trainings for small businesses owner in January, and then in February, we helped them in Spanish. But as you can see, we try to provide everything that we do, we try to provide it in both English and Spanish. We try to mirror all of our services in order to serve our population here in our community. And we, again, have topics such as Canva and how to get creative to conduct fly-ins and marketing. We have our record keeping, how to conduct proper record keeping, the do's and don'ts of hiring, and then how to increase your sales by using POS systems. We also had the great opportunity to bring this year the Imperial Valley Procurement and Resource Fair in collaboration with the great city of El Centro. We held this event at the Martin Luther King Pavilion, and again, I was honored to continue to work with some of your amazing staff, such as Ms. Nava and Ms. Stacy Mendoza from your economic development. This event was a total success. We had a lot of business owners in attendance. This event started with a presentation on business certification, so how to be a small certified business owner, such as a woman business owner, a veteran business owner, a hub zone business owner, and then it ended with a resource fair to try to connect small business owners within our community with Caltrans and other government agencies that are looking to contract. But these are just numbers. So I wanted to take the liberty to bring you, again, as I mentioned, organic stories from our business highlights. And this is truly the reason why we do what we do. We get to work with some amazing business owners, and I wanted to make sure I had the opportunity to present some of those business owners that operate their business here in the great city of El Centro for you today. So without further ado, Ms. Jennifer Rodriguez.
Hi, good evening, afternoon. My name's Jennifer. I've been doing taxes that everybody loves right now for over 20 years. And in 2022, I decided to open my own business, Desert Professional, in downtown El Centro. I taken some of their, with SBDC, the business financial courses. They helped me and guided me to be able to start the business and some of the things that I needed to have some guidance as a new business owner. I'm also part of the women networking classes that they've been doing. And those have been very helpful for me because as, again, new to business and a woman, I've been able to network with other women that are in the same situation or are going through similar situations as I have. And then just recently now, thank God, my business has been growing. So I reached out this year to them and I asked about a loan itself, and they were able to give me guidance in reference to being able to get a loan that is going to help me grow my business, be able to provide more security, a better software. And obviously I'm in a deadline, but I wanted to come and say how grateful and thankful that I'm with SBDC for everything that they've done for me. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
My name is Gerardo Antonio. I'm the owner of Antonio's Baja Catch 22, the current food truck out there in Mondo Stereo. If you haven't seen it, go by Imperial Avenue. I'm here to just say thank you to SBDC for all the help that they have given me and guided me through step one of where to get my business license. So that office of SBDC in El Centro have supported a lot of things that I've done in order to get my business going. As you know, I took some of their classes and then networked with them and met Jennifer also, who's gonna do my taxes. And so yeah, the SBDC is something that I always thought, I'm so happy that I met them because honestly, I had no guidance. I didn't know what to do. I'm a new owner and they gave me all the tools I need to learn. The classes they get put out consistently. I'm always looking at their website to see if I can take another class because it does help me as a business owner. So I just want to say thank you to SBDC and also thank you guys also for receiving me always here.
All right.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Dr. Ashley Cotting, and I'm going to try to get out through this without being emotional because I'm an emotional person. But first of all, I just wanted to thank Viridiana because she's the heart and soul of that place, and she's literally been like a big sister walking me through this business process. And without her inspiration, I would not be here today. I worked in government mental health up until February 2nd of this year, and I decided to jump into my business coping with Cotting blindly. I'm on the mental health side. I do not have a business mind. So I was like, how do I stay legal and ethical? She was able to hook me up with a human resource contact in San Diego, who I've been able to have consistent meetings with to make sure I stay legally within my bounds as I run my business here in El Centro. The networking event that she holds one time monthly for all of us small business women owners has been absolutely incredible. It's been inspirational and it's been amazing to surround yourself with like-minded women who are also going through the same struggles and letting you realize like you're not alone in these struggles and kind of just getting guidance along the way. And then also I've been able to take advantage of the space that she offers. Running a small business, originally I wasn't fully out of my house and didn't have a location in El Centro. And so I was able to use her space to get out and have my business meetings and to have out-of-home space to work. So all around, I'm just so thankful for this beautiful treasure in this town and so thankful that I found it. So thank you.
Well, as you can see, I know we haven't been clapping for any of the other proclamations, but I honestly think they deserve a round of applause. I am truly humbled and honored to work with individuals such as the ones that you got to see here today. And our work doesn't stop there. As I mentioned to them, the road to business ownership never ends. It only gets harder and harder, and it is our job at SBDC to continue to have that support available to them. So just a couple of what's coming for SBDC. Our month of May is going to be dedicated to the food industry. So we are doing our starting your food truck business, both in English and Spanish, and then starting your home-based food businesses in both English and Spanish. Training events. We have also reached out to your wonderful staff at your economic development department. They will be participating and providing some information as to how some of these business owners can take advantage of the opportunities that the city of El Centro is bringing to them, as well as collaborating with the environmental health department, who is also always gracious to lend a helping hand in making sure that these business owners are getting the information directly from the source. We will also be providing training on understanding sales taxes. No, they're not your end of year sales taxes. For that, you go see Jennifer. But making sure that they understand, if they have something that's tangible and they're collecting sales tax, how to pay that back. And then we are starting our new start a business from concept to creation, which is our 8-week cohort for small business owners. So anyone that that's interested in starting a business, this is a great class for them to take. And then QuickBooks series and our ongoing Women in Business Networking series. So speaking about our Women in Business Networking series, I wanted to, if it works, provide a small glimpse of what it is that we do during those events. So our Women in Business Network has continued to grow. We touch on subjects such as having a business with a purpose, the importance of mental health, and this last one, resilience. I believe in empowering our small business community all around and making sure that they, again, are able to flourish in every aspect of their business. With that, I conclude my presentation. And I once again want to thank you so much for the opportunity and the continuous support that we receive from the City of El Centro. Thank you.
Maybe my colleagues like to say something, or?
If it's all right, Madam
Yes,
Mayor,
uh-huh.
just congratulations. When we look at the numbers, it's just unbelievable, the great work that happens. I just commend all of you for choosing the City of El Centro to open your business here. We hope that we have been good stewards and that we continue to provide the services here. Thank you for the great work. Many times when you start your business, you're investing your life savings and you're really taking that gamble, if you will, to make sure that you're able to provide or follow that dream that you have. So it's great that there's guidance, support, education that comes with allowing business owners to go through the process and then mentor back to assist other business owners as they open. And sometimes just the simple fact of having fellowship and understanding the struggles and the obstacles and sharing those strategies are so important. So congratulations to the great work that happens.
Yes, if I may, I'll make it brief. Okay. I'll make it brief. Mrs. Rosales, thank you so much for the presentation. And I know that you have helped many business owners. We just heard from a food truck, from a CPA, from mental health. And one of the general themes that I hear from business owners is they may know the product, they may have a passion for the service that they provide, and that doesn't necessarily translate into a sustainable model of providing that service and incorporating and folding in that business aspect. How much do you charge for the service or for the product? You can have the best tacos, fish tacos, which you do.
You do.
Shameless plug, shameless plug. But that doesn't mean you know how to collect, how to make sure that you're paying your bills on time, that you have a financial model. And so those are just a few things that I have learned in the few years that I've had the pleasure of being able to be part of being invited to some of your programming. And so that coursework is coursework for people who need to understand QuickBooks, who need to understand how important it is to utilize social media to promote their business, how important it is graphic designing. I know you had Canva as something. And so if you're not in a position to hire a graphic designer, you can learn simple tools to create a flyer, to create a menu, to create a service outline, right? And so there's so much that you provide. And I certainly know that I would not know step one to start a business if I decided to put something together. But knowing that there are entities and institutions like yours, I think it's important for us to promote and for folks to know that you are there to help them and to continue help them even after they start their business. So thank you and congratulations to the clients that you've helped.
Thank you.
I would just like to say thank you, congratulations. I believe in leading by example, and I have taken some of young adults to your seminars and your trainings, and very informative. Just keep on doing it, and you post your information so it's out there, and you keep people informed. So just keep doing what you're doing. Very proud of you. Thank you.
You guys do great work. Having a small business is very difficult. It's not just the business aspect, but everything that goes behind it. You know, I've been running a small business in this valley since 2012, and the intangibles are what you don't learn in a book. You know, you have to learn them from experience, from grit, and you give people an opportunity to have workshops where they get to know that it's bookkeeping, that it's marketing, that it's not just the skill that they bring forth to the public, but everything else to keep their shop running. And I love it. I completely am a supporter of small business. And I love that we have these programs available to get people going. And I'm going to, again, echo my colleague with the best fish tacos in town. We're going to find out what that recipe is for that black sauce.
That secret sauce.
Secret sauce.
Secret sauce.
That secret sauce. We're going to find it. We're going to find it. But no, everything that you guys do, when it starts off with a dream. And then the first step is action. And then you find out there's 100 steps after that. But if you're willing to go through the struggle and to get out there and to bring something to the community, that's what really defines you. And thank you so much for allowing people to live out their dreams. Because that's honestly, that's why we're here. That's the American way.
That is my favorite part of what I get to do, is be able to speak to small business owners. And I can tell you without a doubt that there is passion and a dream behind every single one of their businesses. And to be able to build that gap of knowledge and make sure that they understand everything else that goes into running a business so they can continue to have that passion and that strength towards their business is why we get to do what we do. And our success would not be possible without the success of them as business owners, because they know that we do nothing for them. We guide them and they put in the hard work. So I commend every single business owner that we have the pleasure of serving.
That's wonderful. And that's why you'll always have a place. So thank you very much for everything that you do. Thank you very much for everything that all of you budding entrepreneurs do. You know, it's tough to get out there. It's tough to get out there and work. But we have a good community and we support local. Thank you.
So, Ms. Rosales, aside from my long banking career, I too worked as a business advisor for the Small Business Development Center. So I understand your struggles. I'm proud to say that a business that I helped open, oh my gosh, it's been such a long time now, is still open. And it's located in downtown El Centro. And Jennifer, when you mentioned downtown and you gave a hoot hoot to downtown, that Councilmember Cardenas Singh and I have been working on revitalizing the downtown area. So thank you for selecting the downtown area to open your business. And, I just would like to say that, continue, marketing yourselves, because, even just shortly after I became the mayor, I received a call from someone that was looking to start up a business, and they didn't know about the Small Business Development Center. So, this is where, it's an invaluable service to the community. Many people don't realize that it's available at no cost to the aspiring, entrepreneurs that are out there. It's just like, it's important to help them, from the first step in developing that plan, which I know is very, very difficult. And I know that, many people are not writers, and when we, and I'm sharing my experience when I was there, it came to the point that we wrote the business plans for them in order to take them to the bank to get them, to help them get funded, because we saw the, that they had that potential, and that they were following their dreams and they had that passion. And so, I think you probably go above and beyond the call of your duty, to help these aspiring entrepreneurs to open their business. And so, that's what is so rewarding to you, what was so rewarding to me at that point too. And I just would like to congratulate all of you for tapping into the invaluable resources that the SBDC offers, and to continue, because, it's just like operating a business is not easy. And, I also, good grief, this is like all of my other work, I keep the books for a school, but I also operate a small business out of our church. And so, this is where that experience also helped me in that aspect, so it's just like, keep doing what you're doing, because you are really, your numbers show it, it's just like, and I know what it means to, to attain those numbers, and how hard it is to attain those numbers, because if it weren't for you, the SBDC would not be here in the Imperial Valley. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you again for your time.
Alrighty.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, before you move on to the consent agenda, there is
Yes.
an added item this evening.
Yes.
It will be, what number do you want it to be? 14A. It will be item 14A. You have it before you.
Okay.
It is a resolution of the City Council of the City of El Centro approving a confidentiality and non-disclosure agreement with El Centro Regional Medical Center, the Imperial County Healthcare District, and the City of El Centro. You have a copy of the NDA, which was approved last night at the Imperial County Healthcare District meeting, as well as the resolution.
Thank you. And colleagues, can I have a motion and a second to add item number 14A to the agenda? So that motion was carried by Councilmember Carter, seconded by Councilmember Cardenas Singh. That is adopted 5-0. And so now we move back up to public hearing item number 7.
Excuse me, Mayor, we have consent.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You know what, I was following my agenda here, and I was just like, and I got a little excited. So, okay, so let's go back to the consent agenda. All righty. And so colleagues can, alrighty. So those two items on the consent agenda passed. Our Mayor Pro Tem Garcia moved that motion, and it was carried by Councilmember Cardenas Singh. And so that motion passes 5-0. Who can? Okay, now we'll move on to item number 7. And item number 7, this is a public hearing to consider the recommendation of the Planning Commission regarding conditional use permit 23-03 to operate an inflatable obstacle course at 3451 Dogwood Avenue. And we have a presentation by Mr. Angel Hernandez, Community Development Director.
Hello, good evening, Madam Mayor and members of the council. The item before you is a conditional use permit that was reviewed by the Planning Commission at last month's meeting. And it consists of operating and setting up an inflatable obstacle course park at the Imperial Valley Mall parking lot. More specifically, if you could see on the screen, that area outlined in white and black, this is the area of the parking lot that they are proposing to use for the inflatable obstacle course. The address specifically is 3451 Dogwood Avenue. The owner is Seabell Associates, and this is the parking area between JCPenney and the Macy's department store. Okay, more specific about what the applicant is proposing. They're proposing to have an inflatable obstacle course encompassing around 35,000 square feet of the parking area. It's going to include an inflatable play area, a toddler play area, a food area, some seating areas around and kind of spread out around the area, portable restrooms, and also a first aid station. Parking for the use is going to be around the parking lot. And the dates of operation, they're proposing to operate this from November 1st to December 29th Now, the reason why this type of temporary use is being brought before the city council is that in our zoning code, section 29-225A, outdoor entertainment exceeding 10 days requires a conditional use permit approved by the city council. So that's the reason, since they're proposing to use to occupy the site for about 2 months, it triggers this requirement. That's why, if you notice, the circus was in town last month. They were there for a short amount of time. That's why this didn't go before you, in case you have questions about why you're seeing this. So this is a site plan specific to the Imperial Valley Mall site. So they're going to have basically 2 large areas, obstacle course and the inflatable park. And you can see some of the other project amenities I mentioned before. The shade structures, first aid station, a toddler area, and they think there's also restrooms indicated there above the obstacle course. So what they're going to do is the material, the actual inflatables are going to be anchored to the parking lot per engineering specifications. It's going to be closed during rain and severe winds. There's going to be a fence surrounding the project site, and the hours of operation that are being proposed are Monday through Friday from 1:30 to 6, and Saturday and Sunday from 9 a.m. to 7:30. And they could adjust those depending on demand and the conditions. So some of the conditions of approval that I do want to bring up is that the applicant is going to be required to maintain the area surrounding the parking lot clear of any litter. They also have to provide us evidence that the structures they're using are appropriately fire rated and meet those specifications of the California Fire Code. And because this is going to be occurring in November, December, where it's going to be relatively dark, they're going to be required to provide adequate lighting for the use. And also, they're going to have it was a requirement that they also have that first aid station. So the next couple of slides are just kind of the findings that are used to review these conditional use permits. First is whether the use is allowed with the conditional use permit. It is this type of use because it's going to extend more than 10 days. It requires a conditional use permit approved by City Council. That the proposed use is necessary, desirable for the development of the community, and is consistent with the city's general plan, and is not detrimental to existing uses or uses specifically permitted in the zone in which the proposed use to be located. We found that the inflatable obstacle course would not be detrimental to the existing uses, which consist of the Imperial Valley Mall, and we don't see any activities associated with this to have any negative impacts. Third, that the proposed site is adequate in size and shape to accommodate the said use. The project site measures 35,000 square feet, but is located in a large area of the existing existing parking lot for the mall. 4 is related to traffic, that the site for the proposed use relates properly to streets, which are designated to carry the type and quantity of traffic to be generated by the proposed use. The Imperial Valley Mall is really well served by existing roadways, so we don't see an issue with that either. And finally, that there's conditions stipulated by the city necessary to protect the public health, safety, and welfare of the community. And those are included in your staff report packet, and some of the most notable ones I just referenced in the previous slides. So with that, we found the project to be exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act. We did have a public hearing before the City Council on March 12th. We didn't have any comments from the public, and we also have a public hearing scheduled for today. And this public hearing was advertised in the newspaper, and also notices were sent out to property owners that have property in the area. And so far, we haven't received any comments or any concerns from the public. With that, staff recommends that the City Council open the public hearing and after allowing input from proponents and opponents of the project, that they move forward by taking the following action, approving the resolution before you, which would approve the conditions of approval for conditional use permit 23-06. I'm available for any questions, and I also believe Mr. Craig, representing the project, is also available for any questions online. Thank you.
Colleagues, any questions or comments? So I will now open the public hearings. Is there anybody that wishes to speak on this item, either present or via Zoom?
We have no one.
No one? Alrighty. So considering that we do not have any public comments, then this public hearing is now closed. And so I don't think we have any additional questions, Mr. Hernandez.
Thank you.
Alrighty, thank you very much. And so colleagues, we are now voting on adopting resolution number 2416. Okay, that motion was moved by Councilmember Cardenas Singh, seconded by Councilmember Oliva. So we now adopt resolution number 24-16, resolution of the City Council of the City of El Centro, California, approving conditional use permit number 23-06 to operate an inflatable obstacle course at Imperial Valley Mall parking lot located at 3451 Dogwood Road. All right, thank you. So now moving on to new business. Item number 8, discussion and any related action regarding naming of the dog park to be located at 670 Park Avenue. And we have a presentation by our Community Services Director, Mrs. Adriana Nava.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Council. The item before you is a discussion-related action regarding the naming of the dog park that is currently under construction at 670 Park Avenue. So we do have an ongoing policy regarding the naming of city property. It's a policy that we are currently revising because we've noted a couple of inconsistencies. But what we have at the moment is that proposed names of any new city facility should honor and commemorate individuals who have achieved prominence as a result of his or her significant positive contribution to our country or to our local community, to commemorate local histories, places, events, or culture, to strengthen neighborhood identity, and to recognize native wildlife or natural features related to El Centro. So with that said, for a little context, in 2023, the Hilt family proposed naming the dog park Hilt Family's El Centro Dog Park. At the time, we did take that name to the Library and Community Services Board on June 8th. And we also did do a public hearing for the August City Council meeting. At that time, in the August Council meeting, Council requested that we also do some community outreach to see how the community felt and any names that they proposed for the dog park. So we did that from February 12, 2024 to March 12. We did a community survey. We did receive a total of 106 responses. We asked 3 questions. A question was asked regarding residency because we wanted to be residents of El Centro, at least the majority of them who were completing the surveys. The second question was regarding a second name that was proposed by the Hill family, which was Pups at Play. The comments generally felt, and this is a community survey, people wrote that it was a little long and that not all dogs were pups. The third that was highly suggested by the community was Bark Park. That seemed to be looking at the number of times the name was listed. Bark Park was the most popular name. And we did notice that Bark Park is common throughout the nation, that it's a common name for dog parks. Additionally, many community members also suggested incorporating the names of the largest park donors with name suggestions such as A Place to Healed. We did have the survey responses in your packet as well. If you'd like to revisit those, we can. But generally, this was the sentiment that was received as part of the community survey. And that's all I have. I know we do have, this is a continuation, and I know we do have some speakers who maybe would like to speak on the item. And I'll leave it to council for any questions, comments, concerns.
Colleagues, any questions or comments? Or we'll take the public comment first. So I would like to call up Mrs. Cheryl Villegas Walker.
really different from this side. Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm Cheryl Villegas Walker, and I'm here tonight to advocate for recognizing and honoring the contributions of Phil and Elise Heald by incorporating the Heald name into the yet-to-be-named dog park. And whether this is an outright naming of the dog park as the Heald Family Dog Park, or Heald Pups at Play, or the Heald Family Bark Park, I really want you to say that about 15 times fast because it is not easy. And I brought extra copies in case you don't get all my puns, but through the dogged efforts of Phil and Elise Heald, El Centro will soon open its first and only dog park. The Healds trotted through dog parks throughout Southern California, took time to sniff the landscaping, and worked with Duggan's Construction to present to El Centro at no cost the conceptual design for the dog park. And like a dog with a bone, the Healds continued to advocate for the dog park, spending countless hours to make this park a reality. This has been a pet project for the Healds, and through their generous donation of $500,000, we will soon have a place for our dogs to run, play, bark, frolic, or just hang out with their dog friends. So hopefully we will soon have the answer to that important question. Who let the dogs out? And it was Phil and Elise Heald. But for the moment, though, I want you to look beyond the Heald's efforts and their $500,000 in generosity. And let's take a look at the City of El Centro policy statement, which is found at page 52 of your agenda packet, and the procedures for naming city facilities. The purpose of the policy is to establish uniform criteria and procedures applicable to all persons. The policy provides that names for new city facilities are vetted by the Community Services Commission, which unanimously supported and recommended that the dog park be named for the Healds. The policy, which is also part of your packet and includes the Healds bio of their family. And the policy details the criteria when considering names for facilities, and in that regard, the Healds check all of the boxes. The Heald and Mayer families were early pioneers, arriving in the Imperial Valley in 1906. Tonight, we have spent about an hour celebrating small businesses. And guess what? The Healds owned several small businesses, and they were instrumental, what a coincidence, they were instrumental in establishing libraries, Imperial Valley College, and the El Centro Community Hospital, all of which were discussed here this evening. They are a family of volunteers, elected officials, members of service clubs, and noted philanthropists. It would be rough to find a more fitting family than the Healds to name our dog park for. The Heald family has enriched our Imperial Valley in a million different ways. And through their efforts, they made this dog park a reality for us and our forever friends. And I'm advocating for the council to do the right thing and recognize and honor the contributions of Phil and Elise Heald by incorporating the Heald name into the naming of the dog park. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Walker. Colleagues?
I think there's another public
Oh,
comment
do we have
here.
another? Okay. And so now we have Mr. Steve Walker.
Madam Mayor, member of this council, I usually don't like to follow Cheryl because, once Cheryl said something, there's really not a lot else to say. But I want to tell you a little story about the Hills. Many of you probably don't know that for more than 25 years, Cheryl and I ran Imperial Valley Soccer Association and El Centro Soccer Club. And it was a huge youth organization. And I don't say this to pat ourselves on the back because we couldn't have done it without tremendous support from El Centro City staff and the use of parks, Conrad Harrison, Pat Urena, Cliff Hamrick, Chris Legakis, even now Adriana Nava, where'd Adriana go?
Right there.
Are so supportive of the youth and youth soccer. And it encompassed pretty much every city in the valley and an incorporated area except for Brawley. And, it's Brawley's Brawley. So, but we couldn't do it without tremendous support from the community as well. And I was reminded when I'm listening to all this of one of my favorite movies. I love movies that have a story of redemption, right? And hope. One of my favorite movies is Field of Dreams. And there's a character in Field of Dreams named Doc Graham. And when the editor of the paper is relating who this person was, since he had passed on, it went something like, if there's a kid who needed a pair of shoes or a ticket to a ball game or something, Doc Graham always figured out how to get it to that kid without much fanfare. For Imperial Valley Soccer Association, Imperial Stores and Phil and Elise were the Doc Grahams. Cheryl and I made a commitment when we took over the league that we were going to make it affordable because of our demographics. We never wanted to turn away a kid because they couldn't have money for shoes or couldn't afford the registration fee. And so from time to time, for 25 years, I would pick up the phone and talk to somebody at Imperial Stores. I'm sorry, Phil. And it was never, we gave you money last month, or we gave you money last quarter. It was always, what can we do for you? How can we help the kids? That's been the legacy of the Hill family, as far as I know. They helped build the modern business community, along with Lanny Foote and Jack Tyler and a whole bunch of other business people whose names we're forgetting. But this is a fitting way to commemorate the Hills, not just for their donation, but for their lengthy community service. And that's all I got to say. Thank you very much.
Any other speakers? We bring it back to council. Colleagues, any comments or questions before?
I think for myself, when we took a look at this, in this policy, Madam City Attorney, did it state that it had to be an individual that had been deceased? Was that one of the stipulations?
There's a couple of issues with the policy. It's not as clear as it possibly could be. It provides for facilities naming, and there's a reference that makes it seem as if it is for deceased people. One of the things we learned from this, obviously, is that the policy needs revision. So I think that the policy is a policy. The commission has sent this to the council. It's up to the council to use your discretion, guided by the policy to the extent it applies, to determine how to proceed. The commission requested a survey to guide them.
Madam Mayor, I would like to say that there were some points that staff presented in the presentation. 106 entries, right? And it
Yes.
seems to be that based on the plurality, that what seems to have been from the collective was that Bark Park was what the majority or the plurality of what those entries would be. And so I'd like to ask my colleagues to consider this, and I'll make the motion, and that is the motion would be to name the park Bark Park, but with the direction that within the park that we have a plaque, we have something that explains the history behind the creation of the park, and that it be specifically dedicated to recognizing and honoring the Heald family and their contribution and helping have created the park. And so that is the motion that I would lay before us for your consideration.
Adrian, I have a question. How many people reference Bark Park?
It didn't bring, you want to log into SurveyMonkey, please? We can, it'll say how many times, but I would say 20, 30 times.
So, and how many people reference to give some sort of recognition to the Heald family?
It wasn't as many.
I believe that was 16, correct?
Yes.
Well, I would like to have a meeting of the minds and to acknowledge the fact that the Heald family not only made a donation, but also the fact that they have been a pioneer family and that they have been involved, with youth sports, that they have been involved in the community with service clubs for many years in this community. And I'd make a competing motion to name it the Heald Bark Park.
So you're making a substitute motion?
Correct.
He is making a
I know
substitute
he is,
motion.
but what do you want me to tell you? I'm not okay with it. So.
So does either motion have a second? So let's begin again with another motion.
So Adriana, please just, so that we have stats, right? Because we're looking at a list of items. Dog Park, I'm sorry, Bark Park was the one that had the most entries of 106. What was second? And then what was third? Not Wolfington Park.
So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 15, so far. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 20. Bark Park.
20
Some
for
of them-
Bark Park, 16 referencing Heald.
Maybe repeated. 5, 6, 7. That's a repeated one. 8, 9, 40. Some of them just mentioned the family, so that's where that came from. It should be named after the family name. They're comparable, as you know, and some of them even said Heald Bark Park. That was one of the suggestions I think you guys saw me go through.
Well, so here's my thing. We can look at it through the perspective of there was 20 for this, there was 16 for that, and out of 109, that means there was 70, 80 that was not either one of those, right?
That's correct.
And those 70 to 80 were just scattered, meaning you're talking Canine Park, Woof Woof Park, and you just, because you can't group them, right? Then you're not able to make a recommendation, right? Because none of those were plurality.
Yeah, and my staff report does not include a recommendation because we went through the policy, we went through all the steps, and at the end, the direction was complete a community survey. I didn't build stats into every suggestion because at the end, I think as a collective, it may be a name that's not on there,
Right.
and I think the council has discretion over that. This was just the outcome of the survey. And
Maybe I have just an additional note?
Sure.
Oftentimes when we see governing bodies go outside of policy, it's because they don't like the recommendation that comes in front of them to begin with. Unanimous recommendation of your appointed body was to name it after the Field family. You went out to do a survey after the fact because you were uncomfortable or not ready to adopt the Healed name as part of the dog park. And we have minutes from prior council meetings that in fact state that one of the members of the council stating, well, just because they gave $500,000 doesn't mean we need to name the park after them. If you had given context to the survey, I wonder how many people would have had a different point of view. But you chose not to provide that context. Instead, you opened up a survey hoping to give yourselves, unfortunately, I think it's starting to sound like some cover not to do the right thing. And the right thing is to name the park after the Healed family, because it is through their advocacy that this park is a reality. It reminds me very much of when Mr. Garcia was advocating for the first responders park. It was his idea. It was his initiative. He advocated, and that park became a reality. That's very true that that's how this dog park came about. And so again, I'm respectfully requesting that you do the right thing. Follow your policy. Follow the recommendation of your Community Services Commission. Follow the recommendation of several people in the survey, and move forward with the naming of the park after the Healed family. Thank you very much.
Just for clarity, when I took a look at this, the way we understood it, it was outside of the policy, that it did not meet the requirement. And so again, I want to make sure, because the moment that we go outside of what we have written in this policy, we set precedent to not follow it.
I think some clarification. So the policy says, under section 2 policy, consideration should be given to, and this is naming of facilities, consideration should be given to names of local areas of historical significance. The following names shall not be used: names of living persons other than a recognized national figure. Step 1. When you talk about procedures, some stuff about streets, much of what goes to the communities, the commissions are street names. The facility naming procedure for park and recreation facilities goes to the Community Services Commission. It says that the request for naming new facilities must be reviewed by the commission prior to consideration of the city council, and that the recommendation shall be submitted to the council for final action. Nothing that I see here says that the council must accept the recommendation, only that it has to be submitted to the city council, which it was. The city council determined not to accept the recommendation and to conduct a survey. It takes a simple majority vote of the council to determine to adopt a name, or in this case. So while I think what your board or commission said has weight, you're not required to accept it, as you are not necessarily required to accept most commission statements. You chose to go with the survey instead. If the survey isn't what you want, then you'll either need to decide or find another method.
So Madam Mayor, I would just say that there are times where our planning commission has sent to us a CUP or a cellular tower, right? And if per what was stated that we have to then accept it, there's times where we haven't. Or the crematory building that came in and we said no, right? Because again, we have final authority, and this body decided to go the result of a survey. And the survey, we were told the majority was Bark Park. And that's perhaps because it's more encompassing in what the residency of the city of El Centro wants. Like, I know that this is uncomfortable, and I'm not trying to make it anything that it needs to be, which is why I'm saying that per what we said, the survey, Bark Park, let's honor the people who submitted that, Bark Park. But with that said, direct staff to please ensure that we have a space within the park to honor and recognize the contributions of the Hill family in the creation of the park, right?
And we can certainly do that.
So is that a motion on your part?
That's the motion that I'd like to make.
Do I have a second on that motion?
I have my competing motions too.
So I will second Councilmember Oliva's motion.
So we're going to vote on this, and then Edgar, you were going to make a motion as well
I
after
already made a
this? Oh,
motion.
okay.
I need a second.
So you're voting on the motion seconded by the mayor, correct?
Correct.
Councilmember Carter, we're waiting for your motion.
Clarity, please. Okay, so with Edgar making that motion, if somebody was to second his motion, how does this go for?
Edgard's motion died for lack of a second. Tomas's original motion died for lack of a second. Tomas made another motion, which the mayor then seconded. It's the motion before you now, and up to you to vote as you see fit.
So first we have to vote on Tomas's motion. I still have a motion if I have a second.
So right now, would you restate your motion, please, Tomas?
Yes, the motion would be to name the dog park Bark Park and to direct staff to find the space within the park to memorialize and recognize the contributions of the Heald family in their donation and in the work behind the creation of the dog park.
My motion is to compromise to name it the Heald Park. I need a second.
I think you need to vote on the motion on the floor first and see if it passes.
Let's go. It feels like
So then we have, the motion is we have 3 yeses, 1 no vote, and 1 abstention.
Motion passes.
The motion passes.
So does staff need additional direction?
I think we know. The name is Bark Park, and we already have a plaque concept that we had been working with. So I think we're good. Thank you.
All right, so we'll now move on to item number 9, discussion and related action regarding acceptance of the 2024 Draft Housing Conditions Survey Report. Presentation by Mrs. Adriana Nava, Community Services Director.
So again, Honorable Mayor and Council, the item before you is a housing condition survey report. I do want to acknowledge Claro Beso, who's here, and Stacy Mendoza, who have been working on this report with a consultant, Ramiro Ramos and Gordon Gase. You may know Gordon from his prior planning work. The name of the company is R3 Services, and they have a presentation they will be showing.
control over this. All right, good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Ramiro Ramos. I am the Principal Managing Director for R3 Service LLC, and I have Gordon Gates here with me for any questions for the housing condition survey. So, so the city contracted with R3 Service to conduct a housing condition survey with the primary purpose of establishing a need for housing rehabilitation, primarily benefiting low and moderate income homeowners. A survey was conducted on all residential dwellings within the residential zones within the city limits of El Centro, on the R1, R2, R3, and MU1 zones. There was some other residences that were outside of those residential zones that were in commercial zones that have been probably grandfathered into those zones that were also collected and assessed as well. We built a custom GIS mobile application to perform the inspections and to collect the data. We also designed a database using the criteria that was established from the California Department of Housing and Community Development guidelines with weighted values for each of those conditions that were collected. The survey was conducted using a typical windshield style survey, both by car and by foot. And we did quite a bit of process documentation and training to ensure that the data was collected consistently and accurately, and that we would get consistent results. There was a lot of variables. There's a lot of unique conditions in the houses of the city of El Centro. And so we had to find ways to try to condense it and make sure that things fit into kind of a neat little box for each of those different criteria. So we also did quality control procedures. We did quality control on about 33% of the surveys that were conducted. That to find any little errors, and the majority of things that were found there were just minor errors. So the primary features that we were looking at to determine soundness of a dwelling was the foundation, the roof, siding, windows, and electrical panel. Of course, the foundation and the roof holding more weight. So if the foundation or the roof were in poor condition or had issues, that would give a higher score and mean that that house was obviously in poor condition. So the results of the survey were that, well, at the end of the survey, the total scores were calculated to classify the conditions of the dwellings. And as you can see here in this chart, that you had sound, minor, moderate, substantial, and dilapidated. And the criteria for the that was established is here in the middle column. So as you can see, anything with a score of 56 and over would be dilapidated. And you can see that that's only 0.03% of the houses in the city of El Centro, with the majority of the housing conditions in sound condition at 88% in the city of. We also collected additional features. We looked at frontage conditions, frontage improvement conditions. We assessed the conditions, whether or not they were in poor condition. We just kind of did a quick classification, whether it was poor condition or not poor condition for those. And then we also identified where there was missing features, such as sidewalk, curb, gutter, and adequate site drainage. We also collected some other data, things like if a property was for sale, possibly unoccupied homes, potential ADU locations, and potential, like where potential squatters were present. In the end, we drafted a report that you have in your packet there. And you can see there's quite a bit more details inside of that report as far as charts and graphs and numbers, but I just gave you the highlights here. And in the end, we gave you 5 recommendations, and those recommendations are, number 1, being targeted outreach program for funding opportunities for renovation. So, instead of saying, hey, we have all these programs, we have this funds available, or we have these rehabilitation programs, you can now identify where those low to moderate income homeowners are and the conditions of those assessments, and kind of do targeted approach on developing a program with a targeted approach on outreach. And then also number 2, the abatement, abate blight with code enforcement efforts. There's, quite a bit of houses out there where people have overgrown grass and weeds. They have, some debris in their yard or junk, and those are things that you can work with, kind of a beautification program, working with them to communicate the need to kind of take a little bit of pride in their home and remind them with some courtesy notices, and then potentially, escalating that to citation. And then also a citywide vacant property inventory. So I know that the residential property inventory was taken for the housing element. We also, in addition, did collect potential vacant properties, vacant land properties as we ran across them throughout our survey. But we did not collect anything that was commercial. And so one of the things you may want to consider doing is doing an inventory of commercial properties for economic development purposes, to inventory and categorize that to show potential investors and businesses to say, hey, these are potential opportunities or locations that you can use to establish your business and kind of bring those businesses into the city of El Centro. The other one is number 4, stormwater inventory and condition assessment for your master drainage program. So I understand that you guys already have something like that, but it could be beneficial to go out and perform an assessment, because my understanding has been done quite some time ago, to do an updated assessment to say, what are the conditions of these stormwater assets, and so you can get more accurate cost and inventory on what needs to be done, and update your schedule. And then number 5, the last recommendation is this needs to be done every 5 years, and so making sure that you use the same data structures, and we provided the raw data and the raw data structure to the city, so that whether or not you use us or another consultant, that you can use that same data structure, so that way over time you can see the effectiveness of your programs through seeing the trends of the data and whether or not these programs are working or not, and so you can make adjustments. Then we here if you have any questions.
Does anyone have any questions for?
Oh, no questions from you, Madam Mayor.
And so, thank you so much for the presentation.
Thank you.
Want to thank our consultant, and I also want to share with you, when we work on a plan like this and it has recommendations, if you look at your staff report, we did outline the strides that we're already making towards each of the recommendations. And I just want to briefly share kind of one of the things that I think makes me extremely proud is once we receive data, what city staff can do with this. So we have our GIS tech, Gabriel. We already handed him some of this data. And I just want to show you a map that he created of all of the areas that are missing sidewalk that will allow us to target, using the data of the survey that he provided, how we can target those needs and work towards continuous sidewalk rather than just gaps here and there. And I want to share that with you. So when they say housing condition survey, you think, how many houses are in El Centro? Well, those are all the dots of all of the houses they surveyed in the community. The yellow area depicts the CDBG target area. And so that's where we can concentrate some of that CDBG funding. So he gave you a very top level analysis of the work that they did, but in reality, that's what it represents. Every single dot is a survey that was completed. And so I just want to share with you an area where there's missing sidewalk, and it will show you all of the areas where we have concentrations of missing sidewalk in the city. The same goes for the other features. For example, junk in the front yard, we could identify it by dots. And so this is one of those things where we talk about sometimes data-driven decision or working smarter. And I feel like, for example, when we do have that case, now we can target our code enforcement efforts in areas where beautification is lacking because the neighbors have, their front lawn in disrepair. So this definitely allows us as staff to target even our home rehab programs, which we've been making strides on. And so I just wanted to share that with you, that our city staff, we receive raw data, but people like Gabriel actually put it into action, and we can then use this to make better informed decisions. So that's pretty much all I have for this item. If there's any questions, I'm here to answer them.
I think mine is more of a comment. I just like when it's intentional, targeted. It's very specific about where the funding is going to go, the efforts to ensure that we're beautifying and meeting these specifications. So it's always great when you have the roadmap in front of you instead of randomly, right, picking neighborhoods
Or driving the
areas.
city, which is what we
Yes.
historically did,
Yes.
looking for sites. I feel this allows us to just do it really fast and concentrate our resources. We're dividing the city into neighborhoods that we can concentrate 1 month on one neighborhood and then move on to the next. We don't have a lot of staff members, so being able to concentrate our efforts definitely helps us be more efficient.
And Miss Adriana, would we be getting updates as we're making progress towards eliminating some of these dots that show a concern?
Well, yes.
Working towards them, how about that?
We could do that, but, they sell the house, then the dot comes back. And so, and so it just depends. But yeah, we can definitely report back on it. I know every 5 years. I think having just the basis and the starting point for the data is really helpful. And so I feel like this is one of those areas that, collaboratively, I work with Abraham Angel on these undertakings, and obviously our economic development team, but a lot of this is collaboration and discussion about how we can make strides in, looking for grants or just code enforcement. Look, this is a CDBG target area. All of these homes have junk in the front lawn. Can you visit all of these and send them all a notice like, hey, please, help keep our community clean. And so really this is done for the CDBG program. It's a requirement under the CDBG program, but it also allows us to be just a better, more beautiful city overall.
Does anybody have any more comments? And I would just like to say, thank you, because that is something that as all of us drive around town and we see, specific neighbors that have so much junk in their front yards, and how I wish, that they had, I mean, I know that maybe some of them are not able to clean, but maybe that we had the help, for them to, come in and remove some of that,
Yes.
some of that stuff from
Community
their
cleanups
home.
by block. I know
Yeah.
Anna has done that in the past, now that we have seen it, okay, this whole neighborhood, let's go help them out. I know in the past we had worked even, I believe, was it Home Depot that helps veterans or Lowe's? They had assisted in helping out some of our elderly residents who are veteran. So there are ways, but this is just, I guess for us, building that and building on the existing resources that we have, which is knowledge. And it's really, he simplified it quite a bit, but there's a lot of work that goes into completing
I
a
can
housing
imagine,
condition
yeah,
survey.
because-
So
yes.
thank you to our consultants.
Thank
too.
you. This is because that is, something that I'd like to see, this is I've worked on is helping people, clean up their homes and, make them look aesthetically present from especially from the front, as you're
Quality of
driving down the
life,
street,
yeah.
it's just like, I know I'm picturing one house in particular that's very close to where I work, but I won't give you the address. But, oh my gosh, the stuff that they've got accumulated is pretty bad, so, alrighty, but thank you, Mrs. Nava.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Okay, so we are now going on to item number 10, discussion and any necessary action regarding the 2024-2028 draft analysis of impediments to fair housing. And again, the floor is yours, Mrs. Nava.
Yes, this is a Zoom presentation. In your packet is the report that was completed. Jessica Gay is on Zoom and she will be our presenter. The company that completed this report is Mosaic Community Planning.
Hello, everybody. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Hi, Council and Mayor. My name is Jessica Gay, and I'm an associate planner with Mosaic Community Planning. I want to first thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak briefly about the plan that my firm is developing alongside the city's Community Services Department. This plan is known as an analysis of impediments to fair housing choice, or AI for short. And so just a brief introduction to the plan itself. So the AI is required by HUD for any jurisdiction that receives federal housing and community development funds as a means of ensuring that they are affirmatively furthering fair housing. It is meant to identify barriers or impediments to fair housing choice through a review that includes some of the following factors, such as patterns of segregation throughout the city, areas of concentrated poverty, disparities in access to opportunity, and resident housing needs. These are just a few of the conditions that are included in our analysis, and there's more detailed information regarding specific sections in the plan in this table of contents and hopefully in the draft that you are provided. Once these barriers are identified, the plan concludes with a series of recommendations on how to overcome these issues. So what constitutes as a barrier or impediment to fair housing choice? Based on HUD's definition, an impediment is any action, omission, or decision that either restricts or has the effect of restricting the availability of housing choice based on the federally protected classes of race, color, religion, sex, disability, familial status, or national origin. So as we analyze things such as public policies or administrative practices, we're looking for things that result in these barriers to housing choice. So this is just an overview of the plan's development timeline. So beginning in October of last year, we started off with phase 1, which included gathering preliminary data and engaging with stakeholders. Then after this input and data was collected, we drafted our document and provided our recommendations. And now we're currently in the final phase, phase 3, which includes this presentation and making revisions to our draft based on feedback from the city. This is an overview of the data sources that we use in our analysis. Includes things like demographic data from the U.S. Census Bureau, stakeholder input, which was gathered through interviews, a fair housing questionnaire, and a focus group. It also includes housing data, and we also examined existing or previous plans made by the city and related local entities such as Imperial Valley Transit and Imperial Valley Housing Authority. So this is a list of the preliminary impediments to housing choice that were identified in our study. They include, number 1, low wages impeding access to opportunities, resources, and restricting housing choice for low to moderate income households and protected classes. A limited supply of affordable housing for low to moderate income households. An aging housing stock in need of repair and rehabilitation. Disparities in access to community resources and services, limited housing options for persons with disabilities, and a need for continued and expanded fair housing activities. So based on the identified impediments, we also propose a series of actions to address these barriers. Each impediment usually came with a set of recommended actions, so this list is not comprehensive and nor is it final. But our recommended actions include things like collaborating with community partners to expand job training and workforce development opportunities, reviewing qualified application plan guidelines to identify any actions that could be taken to increase the competitiveness of developer applications, providing targeted outreach and continuing to support things like the housing rehabilitation program that preserve or improve the condition of existing housing, expanding financial education and employment assistance, particularly in areas with low median household incomes, partnering with entities such as the Imperial Valley Housing Authority and California Housing Finance Agency to explore new funding opportunities for the development of affordable housing that is accessible to persons with disabilities. And lastly, expanding outreach and providing continued support of fair housing education in partnership with organizations such as the Inland Fair Housing Mediation Board. And as I said, these recommendations are not final, and we are in the process of revising our current draft, but we look forward to providing a final version that will hopefully result in expanded housing opportunities for residents of El Centro. So my contact information is provided here if anybody has any additional questions or comments, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Jessica.
Colleagues, does anybody have any questions or comments for Ms. Gay?
No questions from me, Madam Mayor.
Okey-doke. So that resolution is adopted. That's 5-0. And it's adopting resolution number 24-18, resolution authorizing the submission of the 2024-2028 analysis of impediments to fair housing to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, and to implement the recommended actions to address potential impediments to fair housing in the city of El Centro. All righty.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you to Clara and Stacy for working on these reports. It looks easy when it's all finished, but it takes a lot of work from
Yes.
beginning to end to see it here tonight, and thank you for supporting them.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies. So we move on to item number 11, establishing mid-block crosswalk at Waterman for the Jacaranda Apartments offsite improvements. Presentation by Mr. Abraham Campos, our Public Works Director, City Engineer.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and council members. So this is one item that we haven't done in a while, establishing a new mid-block crosswalk. Just for background, the reason that we're here is that by our city ordinance, anytime that we do a new mid-block crosswalk, it needs to be approved by the city council. So how this came about is in partnership really with Chelsea Investments, with the support here of Adriana Nava and Angel Hernandez on a grant that was received to develop the Jacaranda Gardens. We envisioned that the Jacaranda Garden Apartments on Waterman and Lincoln will produce traffic and that wants to access the great facility that we have at First Responders Park. So because of the location and how the layout of the site is, we don't expect them to use Lincoln Avenue or Bradshaw to the north and instead go midways, somewhere in between, and cross the road. As part of the grant, we anticipated that, and we built into the grant improvements, not only to sell a crosswalk, but get curb extensions. I'm not sure if I can point here. You can see the curb extensions on your screen, a refuge island in the middle, another curb extension on the east side there of the road, as well as bike lanes in this area. So what this means is the road is getting what's called in traffic engineering a road diet. Right now it's 4 lanes, which is 2 lanes in each direction. It'll get reduced to 1 lane in each direction, but we're adding bike lanes and we're keeping the parking intact. This also reduces the crossing distance on the crosswalk. To be able to justify this or to get additional information, making sure that we're not installing something that is making it any worse and that we're in fact improving the area, we solicited the services of LLG Consultants, who did a warrant study that's attached to your agenda on the benefits of the crosswalk. And that study came in positive, and it is recommending and supporting the installation of this mid-block crosswalk. Again, the location of the site is, as you can see, apartments will go in this area, and they're quite built already. They've made great progress on building those apartments, and we expect folks to cross generally in this area to access the facility of First Responders Park. So with that, I'd ask if there's any questions. Be happy to address them, but we're proposing, as mentioned, a road diet, rapid flashing beacons as well.
That's what I was going to ask.
That'll be incorporated into it, and the refuge island to reduce the travel width of the pedestrians across the road. So with that, if any questions, and I would be looking for a motion to approve the installation of the mid-block crosswalk at this location.
Madam Mayor, may I just make a
Yes.
comment? I
Yes.
was worried because that stretch
Huh?
really allows, vehicles, drivers to drive pretty fast through that stretch. So as long as, it sounds like we're going to have all the bells and whistles, literally, right? To
Literally.
make sure, to make sure
Yeah.
that they're aware that someone is crossing. And it is difficult to access the park. You have to come all the way around to the signal light and so forth. And that
Mhm.
would be able to help with that. So
And that's
thank
the
you for
natural
that.
path.
That people speed through there. I know that we've had this conversation, Abraham, but yes,
Yes, and that's in
yeah,
terms of,
it's going to be, it's not just, it's a necessity there.
definitely. And in
Yes.
terms of speeding, the road
Mhm.
eyes to reduce the number of lanes, so it
Mhm.
should lower the speed in that area.
Mhm. Alrighty. So members, do I have everybody's vote? And that passes. Mr. Campos, that we're now adopting resolution 2420 with a 5-0 vote, a resolution of the city of El Centro approving an off-site improvement agreement between, oh, excuse me, I'm on the wrong one. The city of El Centro establishing a mid-block crosswalk on Waterman Avenue between Bradshaw Avenue and Lincoln Avenue, and that is actually resolution number 24-19. Okay, so now we move on to item number 12, discussion and any necessary action regarding the approval of an agreement between the City of El Centro and the California Highway Patrol regard road improvements. Again, Mr. Campos, you have the floor.
Hi, good evening again. This is regarding the CHP construction that's happening at the northwest corner of Dannenberg and State Road 86 or 4th Street for us. As you know, CHP has raised many of the walls and is working on the offsites and the onsites of parking for their facility here in the city of El Centro. As part of that project, the city did condition CHP to improve Dannenberg Avenue. Dannenberg Avenue is on the south side of the CHP, where for CHP, you can see the building kind of in this area. Their main access to the CHP would be from the site on along the north of the property with an exit going south here, with at this point only local traffic to them on Dannenberg Drive. There's not going to be access right now from Dannenberg going northbound and then entering to this. So the public access would be along 86. And the reason is because there's insufficient right-of-way right now on Dannenberg to extend the full width of Dannenberg to the south side, as CHP they don't have control of the south side of Dannenberg as it due to alignment considerations on the east side of Dannenberg. So because this is a state, we're doing things a little bit different. Normally when a developer comes in, we ask the developer to provide the right-of-way to us, the city of Central, and then we issue an encroachment permit and they do the work. In this case, the state has requested that they don't want an encroachment permit from the city. Instead, they want a formal agreement on how they're going to proceed to the improvements. In that agreement, in the terms, in a nutshell, here what you're seeing in this agreement is the CHP will improve the roadway to city standards, and once completed, and I'm talking about Dannenberg, I'm speaking about Dannenberg Road, once completed, at that point, they'll deed it over to the city. Same scenario is just kind of reverse to how we do it, but the end result is the same. To that effect, they were asking for this agreement to be accepted by the city of El Centro so that they can proceed with completing the work to our city standards and then giving it to us, to the city of El Centro, deeding the right of way to Dannenberg Road with the finished improvements once they're complete. Any questions?
There's a lot of little squares in this map, but
Yes. So what you're looking in the map is you're playing on the right side of
Yeah.
the map. That's
well, I was just
86.
through there yesterday, so it's just
Yeah.
like it's a very narrow road at the moment, but I was wondering how that was going to work once that station is completed, because
Mhm.
it is an awkward intersection. I mean, here's Dannenberg and here's,
Yeah.
4th Street, 86, it's just like, so,
Unfortunately, it remain awkward until the development of the south side
yeah.
provides a right of way, and eventually we get the full width.
Okey-doke. All right. So, okey-dokey, so that motion was moved by Councilmember Oliva, seconded by myself. Council members, please vote. And that resolution passes 5-0.
Thank you.
So we're adopting resolution number 24-20, resolution of the City of El Centro approving an off-site improvement agreement between the California Highway Patrol and the City of El Centro related to certain road improvements along Dannenberg Drive.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Thank you, Mr. Campos. Okey-doke. And now we move on to item number 13, a letter of support for Senate Bill number 1309, Lithium Battery Production Council. Mr. Cedric Cesenia, our city manager.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and council members. So before you is ratification of a letter of support for the office for SB, I should say, SB 1309. SB 1309 would create the Lithium Valley or the Lithium Battery Production Council. In this particular letter, basically, you're supporting then in light of the Lithium Valley potential for economic growth here in Imperial County, and it is poised to be able to meet over a third of the global lithium demand, it is understood that there's going to be some considerable infrastructure challenges to the local region. SB 1309 seeks to address these barriers directly. It seeks to facilitate a path towards economic prosperity and also seeks to encourage sustainability of the region. So this letter was previously signed and submitted, and it's before you for ratification, discussion and ratification.
Colleagues, any? Well, I guess there was no discussion on that one, and that passes 5-0. Is that correct?
Not yet.
Who hasn't voted?
Someone hasn't voted. Is it me?
Yes.
Sorry.
Oh.
I pressed the button. Sorry, I guess I didn't press it hard enough.
it.
You saw it,
I
right,
did,
Cedric?
yep.
Okay.
All righty. Okay, thank you, colleagues. And now we move on to item number 14, discussion and any necessary action regarding appointment to the Library and Community Services Board. And so we currently have an unscheduled vacancy for a non-voting member with the term ending of June the 30th, 2026. We had Mr. Matthew Cowie, who applied to sit on the Library and Community Services Board, and so I would like to appoint Mr. Matthew Cowie as to fill that vacancy. Righty, and so Mr. Cowie has been appointed. That passes 5-0. Thank you, colleagues. So now, okay. Just a second. All right, so now we are going into the successor agency to the redevelopment agency.
Excuse me, Madam Mayor, we have the added item. It's a resolution that needs to be approved.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You know what, I thought we had voted on that one. Okay, so now we move on to item number 14A.
Hello again, Madam Mayor.
Yes,
I can take this one if you like.
yes, please, thank you.
So as you're aware, back in October of last year, the governor signed AB 918 into law. Due to the urgency clause of the bill, it became law immediately and formed the Imperial Valley Healthcare District. As AB 918 moves forward, it soon will dissolve Pioneers Memorial Healthcare District as well as Heffernan in Calexico. This will cause the Imperial Valley Healthcare District, IVHD, to negotiate for the acquisition of El Centro Regional Medical Center. As such, the city, as the owner of the real property and the license in which ECRMC operates, it's been requested to begin talks with between the city, ECRMC, and IVHD. This has caused us to have to enter into a non-disclosure agreement, also known as an NDA. And, this is basically in order to, keep preliminary information or private information or information which may be considered as a trade secret to remain as such. So the NDA is presented for your discussion and approval. And this is the NDA between El Centro Regional Medical Center, Imperial Valley Healthcare District, and the city of El Centro.
Okay. Okay, so. Okay, so addition of item number 14A is, has everyone voted? Was it you again?
It's me. I don't know what's going on.
There's something wrong.
With my finger?
No, with the
it's a
screen.
And so that is adopted 5-0. All right, so now we can move on to, now we can go into the successor agency to the redevelopment agency. So we will now recess the city council meeting and adjourn to the successor agency to the redevelopment agency. Madam City Clerk, may we have the roll call, please?
Member Cardenas?
Present.
Member Carter?
Present.
Member Oliva?
Present.
Co-Chairman Garcia?
Present.
Chairman Marroquin?
Present. So this is item number 15, discussion and related action regarding submittal of a grant application for funding under the Home Investment Partnerships Program for the Paulo Fierro Housing Project. Presentation by Mrs. Adriana Nava, our Community Services Director.
So Mayor, sometimes we go full circle on these items. We have touched on the need for more affordable housing. You just saw the mid-block crosswalk for Jacaranda Gardens, which is obviously related to this phase. So I'll repeat some of the same items. You may recall the city owned the parcel to the south, which is about almost 6 acres. It was then subdivided to create 2 parcels. One is currently under development, and then the second phase is being known as Palo Fierro, which is a type of tree, ironwood tree, which is common, if you're wondering about the name. And Chelsea asked us to partner with this. Through all our other agreements, we are essentially already partners. So this is carrying out that phase 2 for that project site. You may recall that this project site was previously entitled. Council at the time approved a conditional use permit. This second phase includes 72 units. It's a total of 6 buildings, 3 2-story, 2 3-story, and also no elevators, and then 1 community building. It also includes 90 parking spaces and then other site amenities such as a tot lot, computer room, gated security, bicycle parking, and patio barbecue areas. Estimated project for this is $39.4 million. And the proposed funding sources for this are home funds in the amount of $12 million and then 9% tax credits. The application to HCD is due April 9th, which is really soon. And we do have Ryan and Alex from Chelsea who are here to answer any detailed questions about, their financing, et cetera. But we have been partners with them. We've completed home applications in the past. They're a beast to tackle, but with Chelsea, we think we can do it. They hire, they've done this many times. We work internally to complete this. Betsy helps us tremendously. She doesn't talk about all these other things she does for us, but it's a ton of agreements. She pretends like she doesn't. We know her. So this is the site plan, phase 2. The buildings that are on the east and south, those are the 3-story buildings, and then the other ones are the 2-story. In the center, you have the community building and the little play area. So that's my report on this item. If the council so wishes, we ask that you allow the city staff to move forward in approving and submitting an application to the state for this project.
All righty, so may I have a motion and a second to adopt resolution number successor agency number 24-01?
Will that be a voice vote, Madam Mayor?
Is that going to be a voice?
No, I already
Okay,
turned it.
okay. And that resolution is adopted. SA 24-01, a resolution of the successor agency to the redevelopment agency of the City of El Centro approving the submittal of an application for funding to the California State Department of Housing and Community Development under the Home Investment Partnerships Program, and if selected, authorizing the execution of an agreement, any amendments thereto, and of any related documents necessary to participate in the Home Investment Partnership Program. So may I have a motion and a second to adjourn the successor agency meeting and reconvene to the city council meeting, please?
So move. Second.
Did you get that, Madam City Clerk? Yes. Okay, thank you. So we are now back to city council, and we are ready for, there were just a couple of informational items, and we're ready to move on to task force reports from the council members.
Sure. Mine will be short. Just the opportunity last week, traveled to Burbank, attended the Cal Cities committee meeting. I represent our area under the Policy Committee of Governance, Transparency, and Labor Relations. In addition to that, I had my ICTC meeting, and then just last Thursday, we had our Cal Cities Imperial County Division meeting. That is the end of my report.
Wow.
Madam Mayor.
You meant short, brief, and to the point. huh?
That's right.
This is like sweet.
Short, quick,
Yeah.
and sweet.
All righty. Councilmember Oliva.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor, colleagues. Since we last met, there have been several meetings. The first one that I'll mention today is the City of El Centro Community Enhancement Task Force. And the highlight from that would be that our code enforcement officer had many successes in terms of abatement, in terms of securing property. Some of the, I would say, headaches and questionable parcels and properties and how they were kept, she was able to finally get the homeowners to bring it up to code. And so she shared with us several success stories that she's been able to accomplish that she had been dealing with for close to a year. So it was a great.
One even longer.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So we're very proud of her and we're thankful for Anna and the work that she does. As mentioned, there was a California League of Cities collective community meetings in Burbank. And so I sit on the Environmental Quality Committee, and we had a lot of varying presentations on water use and the quantification of water use and how the state will begin to quantify our water use as a community and what that does to the overall state focus on where our water table and our water situation looks like. So it was essentially just a presentation. It wasn't anything that we were taking action on, but also looking into municipalities and their policy and adoption on water conservation throughout, right? Whether it's landscaping or toilets that are installed in public spaces, things of that such. So again, it was just a presentation that I think the bulk of the conversation was whether or not we wanted to vote in favor of or against a policy related to utility companies. And I thought it was very interesting because, as many of you know, we live in a POU, which is a publicly owned utility, right? IID. But many other of our neighbors throughout California live in what's called an IOU, an investor-owned utility. And so we are our own balancing area authority, whereas most of these investor-owned utilities live under CalISO, the independent service operator. And so we have to be thankful because our kilowatt per hour rate is 11.69 cents, right? And we had colleagues from all sorts of other places in California saying, their residents pay 36 cents per kilowatt hour. That's 3 times what we pay. And so some of the testimony was that one lady was speaking on behalf of her constituent that has a 1-bedroom apartment and pays $400 a month in electricity bills, right? And so this policy, what it would have done is, or what it's seeking to do is there's the the rate per kilowatt hour that you pay, and then there's that single one-time just kind of fixed fee that you pay. And the argument is that if that fixed fee that you pay, which is the equivalent to our ECA or what we pay at IID, if it's low, then it would make the kilowatt rate higher. But if you make this high enough, then it would drop the kilowatt rate. And to be quite honest, I'm not convinced that investor-owned utilities are going to just accept to lower the rate. So I made a recommendation and a motion to just watch the bill and not necessarily support it or oppose it. And I think everyone in the room, except like 5 people, voted in favor of making sure that we watch it. It's kind of controversial, but I love talking about utilities and all that stuff. And I think what shocked the room was that the rate that we pay, and so I'm just really highlighting that because we pay the lowest rate in the state of California for electricity, and so that was apparent of how many jaws dropped when I said how much we pay here. So it was interesting to say the least. Let's see here as I go through. I was fortunate enough to participate at Career Day at Harding Elementary School, talking about what it's like to be a public servant, to run for office. And my main message to the students was, one day you're going to have to go to the very classmates in your room and ask them for one of 2 things. And one day you will either ask them for their vote, so treat them well, or 2, you may have to ask one of them to write you a letter of recommendation for a job, or they will be on that interview panel for that job. And so I think that for all of the, I know the police, fire, EMTs were present, and so I'm very grateful that a lot of our departments were present. There were a lot of interest in engineers for content creators and things like that the children wanted. And so thank you to all the city staff that participated in that. I'm going to have a shameless plug, and I'm going to look at the wellness group. As I mentioned in the last time, we had a softball tournament, and I had my Wheaties that morning, and I decided to show up.
Oh my gosh.
No. I shocked myself because I went from being the last one chosen to be on the team to, I think, being like the second one chosen, because all of a sudden they realized I could hit the ball. They put me on first base, and I just wanted you to know that as a council member, I showed up on behalf of us, and asked Mike Reed, asked some of the staff.
Represented
That
us
was
well.
I
Represented
I
us well.
represented us quite well, and I was very happy. Please do not expect that same performance in a later time, because I just feel like it was a really nice time. I really do enjoy the time that we spent playing softball, and I know that there's cornhole later this week. Chief Bernard, am I lying? He thought I was gonna hit it really short, and I made him run to the back of the field for that one. So thank you for being for allowing us to participate in that, and it's a pleasure. So with that, Madam Mayor, I will yield back.
Councilmember Carter?
Oh, wow. Interesting. Oh, you can play ball, huh? I also attended the Cal City meeting in Burbank. And I'm part of the Housing, Community, and Economic Department. And that was an interesting meeting. Very interesting meeting. Everybody was like, no, we don't want to leave but we have to leave because there's going to be a lot of traffic. But we had so much to talk about. It's so many people that are interested in having the housing and, for the community. And it was just awesome. I'm just ready for a part 2. I'm ready for a part 2. And then I also attended the Easter egg hunt at Buckland Park. Very nice. I couldn't stay out there because it was so windy. So I did come and put my support in, but it was very windy. So I had to go. It was either get sick or leave. So I chose to leave. So then I also attended the floating Easter egg hunt. Very nice. The kids just, wow, they loved it. They just loved to be in water. They were just fish. They were just little fish everywhere. So it was very nice to see the kids come out, and the parents, they were there to support them as well. The task force to end homeless meeting, I'm sure the mayor will elaborate on that. And I also did attend the Cal City meeting, our division meeting at ICOE, and Veterans Day, our Veterans Day ceremony. I did attend that as well. Like my dad always called us, we're military brats. And, you know, it's just, I'm a proud daughter, very proud. And my dad was a frontline Green Beret. So he always told us, he says, you guys are going to keep that military foundation in the back of your head. And to this day, we still do. My sisters and I, it's funny because we have different stories growing up of how he raised us with that mentality, and it will forever stick with us. Thank you. That ends mine.
Mayor Pro Tem Garcia.
I also attended the Cal City's policy committees. I'm on the Public Safety Committee. We had a very robust meeting where we essentially looked at the competing policies for reforming Prop 47. And we came to a general consensus that most of them were nothing but lip service and actually had no teeth behind them. So after a lot of discussion and debate, we took a position where we would not support any of them until further amendments, because they really did not do anything other than allow the adopters and the people who were drafting the bills to say, look, we're trying to do something. But in reality, after discussing it with LAPD, the Sheriff's Department, and CHP, and of course the lawyers in the room, it had absolutely no impact, none whatsoever. So that was a very interesting point to see the shift where when we voted on it, there was only one member that voted against the position where we needed amendments. And he was a very young council member from the LA area who I think just didn't understand the logistics and how to actually apply the law to people and the hindrance to law enforcement that Prop 47 was creating. The amount of money that was being spent by the LAPD and the LA County Sheriff with their retail theft task forces was mind-boggling. Honestly, it was more than the budget of our whole department, and they were still underfunded. And they still had an issue where all these stores had cameras and security, and watching the videos, it was like America's funniest home videos. It was ridiculous how security was forced to interact with these dangerous people. But the task forces, to their credit, when they identified them and raided the areas where they were planning all of these retail crimes and drug distributions, they found drugs, they found weapons, military grade weapons. And they got a lot of bad people off the street. And a lot of them, these people that were going in there doing these smash and grabs, some of them had warrants for assault deadly weapon, attempted murder. Some of them had some murder warrants on them. So it's not just, a harmless crime. And that's what they were trying to articulate to us. And I got to give credit to LAPD and LA County Sheriff. They gave a great presentation. They had a lot of media to show everybody. And they really did a good job of changing the consensus in the room. There were a lot of people in there that wanted to protect their small municipalities like ours, of course. We don't see the rampant destruction that this is causing in big cities out here. But we've had our taste. We've had to deal with it a little bit. But seeing the videos of what happens day in and day out over there was just, it was illuminating. And the fact that they're fighting this fight every day with limited resources. But the good thing is that the League of California Cities is finally committed to Prop 47 reform. whether it's a hard position for actual overturning Prop 47, or whether they're going to try to chip away at it with different types of bills. Right now, we have a lot of different bills that are on the table. And like I said, they don't go far enough. They talk about the issue, but there's no real solution as to let law enforcement deal with it. So we have taken the position at this point, and I have another policy committee coming up. We're going to be meeting again in Sacramento, but they are not ready to adopt these bills at this time. They want amendments. So that's what I have to report. I think it's very important, not only for our city, but for the state of California, because of the rampant crime that we see reported every day all over the state. So this is one thing that we're really taking a hands-on approach on. They're dissecting the bills. They're looking at how law enforcement can be more empowered to deal with it and how to do it in a smart way. So that's what we're looking at, and that's my report.
So let's see. So while my colleagues were away at all of their legislative meetings, I attended the State of the County address with our city manager, Mr. Cedric Cesenia, and our public information officer, Mr. Mario Renteria. So that was held out at the Prestige Event Center out in Heber. So they had a pretty full house. It was a nice event. Chairman Plancarte really recognized all of most of their departments there. I think if they would have gone through all of the departments in the city, that would have taken a little bit longer that evening. But I was also at the Easter extravaganza, and I want to thank police and fire for being on alert and on standby in case that we had any problems because of the weather out there. My gosh, it was really, really windy. And unfortunately, because of the weather, and then right after I got there, it started sprinkling a little bit. Good thing we didn't have a downpour. But unfortunately, because of that weather, we had to cancel the kids' play zone and the movie that evening. But hopefully next year it'll be a lot better, and we'll have the crowds that we're used to seeing. But even though we had bad weather, believe it or not, we still had a good crowd out there. So very nice. Just again, thanks to all of the Community Services Department, the Parks and Recs, and Public Works team for putting that event on for the community, because I know that the parents and I'm going to say the parents because most of them were out there with their children, and the children really enjoy that. Just to see the prizes that they get in those little eggs. We also had the Task Force to End Homelessness meeting last week, and that. I'm proud to say that we are getting closer and closer to launching our Helping Hands Street to Work program. And so we are working out the final details. And I know that I've asked our code enforcement officer, Ana Garcia, and our community relations officer, Carlos Bernal, to identify individuals that we can start this program with. And so I'm looking forward to that, and I'll keep you updated. I know that this has been something that I've been working on for quite a while, but due to technicalities on the funding and so on, it delayed the process a little bit, but we're getting there. That same day, I also attended a ribbon cutting ceremony for the Little Lambs Preschool, which is located in the downtown area. So another fairly new business down there. Attended the Vietnam Veterans Day ceremony. So, I didn't know that Mr. Henderson, he's been involved with that VFW post for quite a few years, but I guess he stepped down from the leadership position, but he did ask, to address the crowd that was there that morning. And you know what? We had a pretty good crowd out there. So it was, I think our events to recognize all of those individuals that have served our countries and have sacrificed the ultimate is really, I think people are starting to really appreciate and recognize how important it is to honor them. So thank you for being out there. I was also out at the floating Easter egg hunt. I have to say that this was an inaugural event, and the lazy river looks so cute with all of those little eggs floating. There wasn't anything in the eggs, so I have to say that I've got to give the aquatic center staff and Rebecca, and all of our team credit for being so creative. This was one where the eggs were floating. They even provided the baskets for the children, and the baskets were made out of plastic with holes in them so that they wouldn't retain the water. The kids, all they did was collect eggs. And then at the end, they had to make one lap around the lazy river. At the end, they turned in their eggs and their basket for a bag of goodies. And so what a clever way to recycle and hopefully maybe reuse next year, because I think this will become a popular event. And unfortunately, the weather also dampened, had put a damper on that event. I know that when I got there, it was sunny, and within minutes, it was just cloudy, and then by 3:00 and hopefully by the end of that event, it was raining outside. So my gosh, this is just not spring weather. So I'd like to also mention a couple of things. So this coming Monday, April the 8th, is my next Monday with the mayor. And I will be at Renee's Comics and Sports Cards located in downtown El Centro. Address is 549 West Main Street. So I encourage the community to come out and talk to me about any topic that is related to the city. And, please come out. I hope to see you there. This Friday, April the 5th, we will have a check presentation with Assembly Member Eduardo Garcia. The ceremony will begin at 2 p.m. and it'll be at our downtown square at the park. And the Assembly Member will present the city with a check in the amount of almost $4.8 million for our Embellece downtown project. And we will have music and food trucks from 1 to 4 p.m. And this project is designed to revitalize our town square, which is located at the intersection of 7th and Main Street. And eventually it will come an event venue for events, the city events, food truck events and so on. And so that'll hopefully spark a lot more foot traffic in the downtown area. So hope to see you all there. And I'll now turn it over to our city manager, Mr. Cedric Cesenia.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I also had the pleasure of attending the Easter egg extravaganza. It was actually pretty cool to have the different age groups, and it was a lot of fun walking through the whole park, and then being able to see those kids trying to get those Easter eggs that were available. I also had the opportunity of attending the El Centro Adult Center's Easter egg hunt. That was actually pretty neat. A lot of dancing and music. It was a lot of fun. It appeared to be a lot of fun. I didn't do any dancing because, I had injured my leg the previous week. I also attended
Cedric, I have to say that those adults were worse than the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were bad. They wouldn't wait their turn in line, to go after the eggs,
I mean, being injured myself, I was concerned for their well-being.
Uh-huh.
I also had the opportunity to attend the Imperial Valley Regional Chamber of Commerce mixer, followed by the Cal City's Imperial Valley chapter meeting. On Friday of last week, I also attended the Lithium Valley Symposium over at IVC. That was some good information that was presented. And earlier today, we had the pleasure of actually having the city family grow by 3. We had 3 new firefighters that were sworn in this morning.
Awesome.
For our fire department. 2 of them are paramedics. Wish them the best of luck and probably what's going to be one of the hardest 6 weeks of their life. But they have chosen to join what I believe is the premier fire department in the Imperial County and the region. So with that, that's the end of the report, Madam Mayor.
All righty. And on that note, that concludes our meeting. It is now 8:43 p.m. Everybody, have a good evening.